Hello and welcome, beloveds, to the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. MumbiSeraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you are moving into living life truly on your own terms. We want to thank everyone that supports us on our PayPal and our Patreon accounts. Go ahead and consider joining us there so that we can keep our team going regardless of, the wars that we're going through because there's a narrative war. I've been saying this for the last year. There's a major narrative war, and those who control the narrative control the future, and that's why you're seeing the fact that the narrative is now collapsing means that there is an alternative or alternative futures that are now going to be available depending on which narrative you tap into. But those are definitely stories for other days. Now, this happened a couple of weeks ago, but I still think it's really important because, here we look at all the stories that point to the great awakening of our people, the great restoration of our people, and also look at the flip side of, the exploitation and the suppression of our people, because this is a time like no other where we are going to be, revitalized, restored, reformed, to be truly who we were always meant to be. And can you imagine that a couple of weeks ago, Kenya actually was to send officials to Beirut consulate after the mainstream media, CNN, actually broke a story on allegations of abuse and exploitation. And what happened is over 1,000 Kenyans are living in Beirut. Of course, they're called expats, but we know a lot of them, unfortunately, are either domestic workers, some are called girls, and so I explained when I was talking about, we saw the Kenyan women kind of rioting or demonstrating outside of the honorary embassy, that the actual embassy is not in Beirut, but is managed from, I'm just looking for that information. I think it's managed from Kuwait. Yeah, it's managed from Kuwait. And what they've done is they've hired an an honorary consular or whatever. And a lot of different countries do that, even here. And they've hired basically this guy called Saeed Chalohi, who is a Lebanese. And what they claim, because, as many people even said, who have encountered Lebanese are extremely racist, the majority of them. And what they've said is multiple women actually exposed this honorary consul, saying they were exploited, some were verbally abused or physically assaulted by Kenya's honorary consul to Lebanon, Saeed Chalohi, and his assistant, Qasem Jaber, both Lebanese citizens. I mean, how does the Kenyan government do that? Why not even get one of these 1,000 expats and turn them into a consul? Like, how do you hire Lebanese? Can you imagine? Our women were verbally abused, some were even physically abused. And a lot of them, this happened when they were going to seek help, against the terrible treatment of some of their, what are they called? Their employers, who they were working for as domestic workers. And then you go and you get thooped, basically slapped in your own consul. That's crazy. That's crazy. And why hire Lebanese? I don't get that. I really don't get that. I know they do that because most of the time these guys, they'll get the diplomatic status. So some are happy with that because they'll get access to this and that, but they won't really get a salary or anything. But what they said is that 4 women who also said they witnessed Chaholi suggesting that Kenyan women seek sex work in order to cover the consular's expenses. Damn. I can't believe we do this to our people. At least one Kenyan woman was arrested by Lebanese police at the consulate after an altercation with Chalohi, according to the women, witnesses, and a police report that had been seen by CNN. And all of the witnesses said Chalohi and Jabbar regularly overcharged Kenyan women for consular fees. So you're racist to the people whose country you're representing. That's crazy. Saying they should do sex work to pay your bills? So they're saying, Assistant Consul Jabba has actually denied all allegations of wrongdoing and claimed that the police arrested the woman without the honorary consulate's permission. Although a police source said security forces entered the consulate with agreement of Chalohi. I told you guys how, different consulates like embassies, etc., are actually considered foreign land. The little Kenya there would be the consular. But now this news actually, it shocked Kenyans when it hit CNN. This is the patheticness of the way our people operate. I bet our Kenyan brothers and sisters, mainly our sisters, have complained so much about this, but it's only when it embarrassed the quote unquote high and mighty that now they actually went out there and reacted. This is so painful. And as I've said before, many Kenyan migrants in Lebanon are domestic workers who are sponsored to be in the country under the controversial kefala system. Kefala system basically is a form of indentured servitude, but on the ground, they're literally looked at and described as slaves. And this system basically ties a woman's immigration residency status to a live-in work contract. So they have no freedom. They can't even exchange currency. They can't move around. Everything, and the person they're working for, their employers literally become like their police and their everything because they can take out the law on them. That kafala system has been very, criticized. But allegedly, when CNN reached out to the Kenyan embassy in Kuwait about the allegations of mistreatment at the Beirut consulate, Kenya Ambassador Halima Mohammed or Mahmoud said her mission was in constant communication with the consulate in Beirut, and two institutions worked to blah, 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 blah. Obviously, it's not the case. Chalohi did not respond to the journalist's question, but this is just so pathetic. How do you hire Lebanese who are racist to take care of your Kenyan citizens abroad? Oh, let me know what you think in the comments. Until next time, tuko pamoja. Hello and welcome to Africa Watch on the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. MumbiSeraki. How are you doing? How's everything going? I pray you're well in all your ways and that you are living your best life. Now, this is a story that a lot of people have asked me to talk about. It's kind of depressing to me because it confirms what I've been crying over for the last 2 years. I've been speaking and screaming on the top of my lungs, and I have not been alone. The Catholic Church has been doing the same thing, and different doctors and medical practitioners have also come and tried to share the same information, but it has totally been rejected. And now, when we look at the census that just came out, so basically Kenya carried out its national census, to figure out how big our population is. It was the first one we've done since the last one we did was a decade ago in 2009. And what it showed is that our population growth has dropped from 2.9% to 2.2%. Now, 2.2% means that the average Kenyan is only having 2 children. A lot of people will be like, yay, no, don't celebrate that. Because what that confirms is actually that we are approaching an aging population as a developing country. These statistics are the same as industrialized nations that have been industrialized for ages. This is what Europe is dealing with. Europe is actually dealing with an aging population, and that is what Kenya is dealing with. And this is not something that we should be celebrating, but we should take this as confirmation that systematically since the 80s, Kenyan women and men, because also Kenyan men, Kenyans have been sterilized by their governments. Because how else do you explain our population dropping by such a dramatic, drop? How do you explain that? Tell me. How do you explain that? So, the census showed that Kenya's population grew by 2.2% annually from 2009 to 2019 to stand at 47.6 million. Now, they had actually thought that we would be at 50 million by now. The results were of a population and housing census. Now, another disturbing thing about this population and housing census is they asked very intrusive information. They wanted to know how many goats you have, how many cows you have, how many, computers you have. I mean, everything that you can imagine they asked for. So people were asking, we even want to know the national census, how many cows does Kenya have? You collected that information. How many sofa sets does Kenya have? Guys making fun. But the sad thing is, allegedly, unconfirmed reports suggest that the information that was collected during the population census was actually being stored in a server in France. In France, guys.